Hey guys, we have Deshawn Hatcher. She is unbelievable makeup artist. I've been working with her for a very long time. I don't even want to speak about her accomplishments because she is just insanely accomplished. And working with someone so creative like you is been a I've been very fortunate. I've surrounded myself with people like you. What advice do you have for a young makeup artist?
I wrote a book called Assisting Rules, which means there are rules to the position of assisting. And I assisted when I first got into business. It was invaluable to me. It really changed my world, assisting. And so I wrote a book called Assisting Rules. And so I really do mean pick up that book because it's very important that you read that so you understand what you're getting into. The reason why I wrote it was because there were so many rules when I first started, and nobody would like you would tell people, oh, I just assisted this person and I'm so excited. And they would say, you're not supposed to do this, or you're not supposed to do that. And I was like, well, where's the book? I never heard of this rule before. And so I kept getting this weird stuff. So I wrote the book.
How do you suggest that photographers, young photographers who want good caliber makeup like yours to come on set, how should we treat you? How should and you we treat any makeup artist, really?
If somebody didn't know me very well and said, hey, Sean, can you come help me with this? I probably would say, yeah, sure, why not? I'll come help you for I got nothing to do that day. But I do think you should be looking up who's working with you, and you should have an understanding of their background. And if a person who's a very senior artist decided to do you a favor, and you should respect that artist's breadth of work. But I will tell you this, that I respect no matter where they are in their career. I have worked with many young photographers over the years, and I respect them. I'm not up there to tell them what to do. It's not my shoot. I'm there as a person, as a helper. So I do follow what they say. I might say, hey, I might say one or two things like, oh, you might want to something, or should I adjust what I'm doing? But I try to be as respectful to those people as I hope they're being respectful to me.
In the creative side of things, should a photographer or a director, how should we get the best out of a makeup artist? Should we get you involved from the very get go? Should we tell you every single set, hey, this is what we want? How does that happen? How do you prepare, and what do you bring to the game?
Yeah, I like it better when they talk to me and they tell me what's happening. Like we're gonna shoot. It's very much like, I think it's because I come from the film world. And when you deal with directors talk to you. They'll tell you, this scene is this and this scene is that. I'm doing it here and I'm lighting it this way. They really tell you a lot of things, a lot of information coming my way. So I understand what's happening. Fashion can be a little looser, but I would prefer a photographer to talk to me, tell me what's happening. Like, what is your idea behind this shoot? Like, what is your vision that you have? So I understand what my role is. But a lot of times, unfortunately, fashion, sometimes it's not as much communication, and you're just grasping at air. It would be better if you knew what you wanted to do and had like mood boards for me to see and things like that. The closer you are to being completely professional, the better it is for a professional makeup artist of a certain caliber to be of help to you, to be of service to you.
So, how did you get into fashion?
I was on a film set and was working with a fantastic DP, director of photography, or cinematographer, whatever you want to call him. And his name was Wesley Harrell. Hello, Wesley, if you're ever watching, I love you. And he said to me, hey, your makeup's really pretty. Do you ever want to do do you want to do like a fashion thing with me? And I was like, yeah, why not? Okay, whatever. And so he was like, so come up with ideas. And I was like, oh, I thought it was your shoot, but okay. And then I came up with ideas, and he had a crew, and I had my ideas, and I had my crew. And then we put this whole thing together. And we come from the film world. So we, instead of shooting in like a studio, we shot in a sound stage. And so we had all this cool stuff at our disposal. It was very cool. It was a very cool shoot. So from there, all those pictures I took, and as I always say, I shoved it down everybody's throats in fashion. It was like, look, pay attention, look. Until somebody was like, oh, okay. Oh, you do have some talent when it comes to fashion. So I was like, yeah, pay attention to me. So I really shoved it down everybody's throats, everybody. Yeah.
So, first point you made was work like a madman. The second point you're making is that you shoved it down the higher uppers or the
Yes.
decision makers' throats, and
Yes.
that's what one needs to do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now
And
fashion.
actually, not even the decision makers. I shoved it down everybody's throats because the one thing I learned in corporate America is that you don't know who knows who. So if I shoved it down your wife's face and said, hey, I did this, she might say, my husband's a photographer. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you take it and you show it to everybody, you know, because it's hard to reach the higher ups. You're just starting. So it's very hard to reach, you know, editors and all that stuff. You have to show it to everybody.
So Deshawn, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
A makeup artist of 22 years. Started off in film, moved over to fashion, have worked with the likes of Mr. Ijaz Khan and so many other amazing photographers. Then I moved over to like special events, and within those special events, I got a Guinness World Record for being a beauty director for a fashion show.
Why and when did you choose to become a makeup artist?
Well, I come from corporate America. I was an administrative assistant or a portfolio administrative assistant. Let me add the portfolio. And I hated that job. And I always loved fashion. I always loved like looking at images and wanting to do makeup like that. And I would run around in corporate America and I would do everybody's makeup. So if it was Friday night, they would run to me, we'd all run into the bathroom and I'd grab everybody's makeup and I'd just do it. And they would say, oh, you should do it for a living. And I didn't know what that meant other than the Avon lady. I didn't know. I knew I loved film. I knew I loved old Hollywood. That was my jam. That was my thing. And I wanted to become a film makeup artist because I didn't know about the fashion. I only knew about the film. As I always say, I was talking to my friend on the phone at my desk when I should have been working. And I spoke to my friend Sean, and he just told me I was a miserable human being and that I had to, you know, decide on what I wanted to do. And he asked me a question on the phone. He said, what would you do for free? And that just knocked me out. And I said, for free? Who works for free? And then, you know, he started to explain to me about passion and, you know, and all these things. And I said, oh, okay. And then I went home and made a list of all of the things that I do for free. And makeup was at the top. And I came back to work and used their phone and called around to makeup schools in New York City. And there was only one that specialized in film at the time, certified. And I took within about 2 weeks after that phone call with Sean, enrolled in school. I think I was in school in 2 weeks.
What can you do for free? It basically helps you map out your love.
Yeah, it helps put things in perspective. Like, what is it the thing that you do so much that you run around that you don't even realize that it's a, you know, like when I was doing makeup, it was a joy. So it was never a problem with somebody running up saying, oh, Deshawn, can you do my makeup for my wedding? Can you do my makeup? I'm going, I was like, sure, you know, it didn't dawn on me that it was a job. It was fun. It was creative. It just never dawned on me. So when he told me to make the list and put it up, and I put it up on top, it said, ding, this is what you want to do. Go out and do it.
Did you go directly into filmmaking after that? Or, I mean, into the film side of things, or did you go into fashion?
No, I went straight into film. In fact, what is the first gig I think I got actually was a low budget music video. And I begged my way onto that job. And they still owe me $80 to this day. And but what I did was I started off in student films. So I went to we have really great schools here in New York. And for some reason, I wound up at Columbia University. And that's kind of the film school over there. And I kind of like worked on everybody's films. It was, you get like when you work on film sets and you're new and it's a school, basically what happens is, let's say the person that's sticking, making the lights and doing all this stuff, his next film is coming up next week. And then, goes on and on. So each time I did a film, the other people on set were doing their own film. So they would say, hey, Deshawn, can you come do my film? And I was like, sure. So I was constantly doing all these student films. And by the end of like, I don't even know, like 6 months or 7 months, I'd done like 25 student films. And then
Wow.
those films took off and some of them got on TV and some of them won awards and it got crazy.
Work as much as you can, whether it's for money or without money, to get into the industry.
You have to gain experience in order for your career to grow. It's not, I can't go from like school to working with Martin Scorsese. It just doesn't work that way. You have to build your resume.
How did you balance the filmmaking, or sorry, the film business and the fashion business?
So I spent about a good 2 years or so in film. And I hit a wall and I couldn't understand why I kept hitting this wall, and the wall was trying to join the union. And I kept getting this mixed, like, oh, you need to do this and then you need to do this. And I'm running around doing all these things. And I'm like, I'm not making it here for some reason. And my money is running out. I cannot afford to keep running around doing this. And fashion, the hours were better for me. And so I just started to do really just set my sights now onto the fashion world. Film and fashion really don't mix very well because of the hours. It's a commitment in time when you do film. So films could be 12-hour days, 16-hour days sometimes. You can't commit to a fashion shoot the next day. It's just too difficult. So you have to make that decision. Which one am I going into? So I stopped doing films and moved over to fashion, or as I say, fashion. Because when you make it into fashion, you must start speaking with a language with some accent. So I made it into fashion. So I went over to fashion and I stayed in fashion. And then every now and then, when let's say a TV show would contact me or something, then I'd go and do a TV show. But I also knew that was just a day shoot and I could go back and do what I was doing.
What is the difference between film
Mm-hmm.
and fashion
Mm-hmm.
makeup? Like, what is the difference between the two kinds of makeup?
Film, literally, your work is casted 20 feet long, 30 feet high. It's huge. So when there are issues, when you make a mistake on film, it shows up so easily. And so you have to have, everything has to be perfect when that person walks out the set. It has to be flawless because it's being blown up so big. With fashion, or as we say, fashion, what will happen is because I'm an editorial person. So I've been in, I don't know, well over 100 magazines. So magazines are a little different. Magazines, everybody's photoshopping. If God forbid there's an accident, a mistake, they just Photoshop it out. So you have a little bit more of a grace. In fashion, let's say you get to have a lot of time with your person, with the model. So you can get 2 hours to do one face, 2 whole hours. But honey, if that face is not flawless, then there's going to be an issue. So that's the difference. To me, you have a lot longer leeway with the fashion world than sometimes you do with film. Sometimes film is very Deshawn, the AD, the assistant director screaming at you like, come on, Deshawn, 5 minutes. And it's like, wow, okay. But in fashion, you do get the time to kind of take your time and work on the models and get it flawless. So it has to be flawless. That's how I like it. I don't like people retouching my work. So it has to be flawless.
Definitely pick up skills to juggle both.
Oh God,
If
yeah.
you're planning, or if you want your career to go that direction of doing fashion and film.
Yeah, because the biggest thing in the world that I think makeup artists need to understand is that no makeup look, because it goes into both worlds. And you have to be able to do undetectable makeup in both worlds. And a lot of people don't seem to get that. They don't understand undetectable makeup. They get the glamour, they get all that. But as soon as you say, I don't want to be able to see anything on the face, They don't know how to do it in the fashion world. And so being a film makeup artist, a lot of people would say to me, makeup artists who were senior, when I first started, they would say to me, wow, your makeup is really different. And I would be like, it is? And then I would say, well, my training was in film. And they go, you understand skin, you understand this, you understand that. Because in film, a person could look like they woke up out of bed crazy, but they have a ton of makeup on, but you can't see it. Where in fashion, if an editor asks you to do the same thing in fashion, people are putting on pounds of makeup and it just doesn't look right. So that no makeup look is extremely important in fashion.
Deshawn, we know each other for over 100 years now,
Yes.
but I have never shared this with you, which was holding on for this moment to share this information with you. My mother was a makeup artist.
You sure didn't tell me that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have not mentioned that to you. So since my mother
Wow.
was a makeup artist, and the little that I know, I mean, she wasn't working when I was, young or whatever. She was working before she met my father, who they met on set. Client hit on
Oh.
her. She was the makeup artist. He was the director. So of course he had the hierarchy. Bottom line, I came into the picture. At that time, she wasn't working. But what I hear in the old school days
Mhm.
was in the film industry was that you put on the makeup, and after you put on the makeup, you somehow heat it up. Is that still the case? Like they would have lights on the face so that the makeup blends into the face and so on and so forth. Is that still happening, or
Oh,
it is the past?
that is called here baking. When they say they're going to bake the face, they put on a lot of powder. It's a drag term, and it's drag makeup, and it's beautiful makeup. When drag people do it, it's gorgeous. But it's been moved over to regular world and it looks cuckoo. I'm sorry, I said in an interview it looks cuckoo on people. Sorry, it does. But basically what's happening is that you need the oils to kick in to the powder to kind of make it settle down. So it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like you threw a bag of flour onto the face. So that's why nowadays, if I'm sure you don't do the YouTube or whatever, but if you watch young ladies put this type of makeup on, they will take a spray, any kind of spray, and they spray the hell out of their faces to make the powder calm down and to also make it kind of stick.
I
That's
see.
what your mom did. She did that. So that's what she's talking about. Like the lights would kick in, they start to sweat probably, it will start to warm up, and then that flowery effect will start to die down. That's
I,
what's happening.
so yeah, I mean these days we don't use such bright, I shouldn't say bright, but we don't use such hot lights. We use LEDs, which are, so is that the reason why we don't do that kind of baking these days?
Yes, oh no, they still do it. That's what I'm saying. Instead of having the sweat, because you're right, the lights aren't so heavy and hot, they take a spray and they spray it all over their faces. They wet their whole face and then it'll dry like they've been sweating, like you've been on set and you're sweating and it sticks.
In my early days of photography, I used to take offense to anyone saying anything. God forbid they said something on set that
Mhm.
I had not thought about. And later on, I changed my thought process, and the thought process went from that to, if they're going to give me advice or they're going to suggest something to me, at the end of the day, I own the photograph, not own like physically own it, but the first credit comes to me as a photographer. What do you feel about that? Because I know for sure, matter of fact, the last shoot that we did for Lorenzo Umo, and you came along, and since you and I get along so well and we go back so much, there is no ego between you and I. You came on and you took that photograph of the pillar, which was so beautifully done. And I wasn't the photographer, I was the art director. So I asked my photographer and I said to him, why don't we just frame it this way? Bottom line, we took a photograph. I don't think you were on set at that moment. You were elsewhere working with the girl, with the model.
Mhm.
And the owner of the brand said to me, wow, Ijaz, that is so creative.
Oh.
And I was so wanting to take all that credit. But of course, I did not,
Right.
because, the credit wasn't mine. I didn't think about it that way. And it was you. So I said it wasn't me, it was Deshawn. But I think it takes age, and it takes a lot of courage to give the credit over to somebody else.
Yeah.
I didn't do that in my early days. I do that now all the time, because all I am is someone who connects the dot. That's how I find my role to be. Do you feel like photographers and directors take away your credit?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yes, all the time. Yeah, I'm always bothered by no offense, because I love you, but the omnipotence of the photographer, like I own, it's my work, it's mine, 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 mine. I'm like, well, it was a whole team of people that did that. I mean, I dig that you went like this, but there's a hair and makeup artist, there's these people back here. There's a lot of people doing this work to make this photo look amazing, and then you're the one who owns the photo. That's a big pet peeve of mine. You're the one who owns the photo. You're the one who gets to sell the photo over and over and over and over again. We get no extra money. We get nothing. So that has always been a pet peeve of mine. If that's about the only thing like in the whole industry that it bothers me, is that little, when you get to sell the work, and again, then you should be breaking off a piece for everybody. That's how I feel. I think it's just because I'm a Libra, and things have to be fair. But but besides that, yes, I mean, I've done a couple. I mean, I've done what I did to you was like, oh, Ejaz, look at this. And people have taken my ideas and ran with it and said nothing. But I understand why that happens too. I wasn't looking for credit. I just was trying to help, because I thought the location was so
Well,
beautiful.
that is something that I learned. I learned over the period of years, and fortunately, I'm not 25 anymore.
Hmm.
And it's not about me, it's about what comes out. And
Yeah.
that's what I have learned from you, that it's a collective process. And I don't have any egos as such. Like, when Larry came over to me and said, hey, each has, wow, this is amazing, how did you think of this? And I said, it wasn't me, it was Deshawn. Actually, we were selecting the images as well. And he said, wow, I love that composition. I said, that's Deshawn's work, not mine. I all I did was take her information and ask the photographer to do what I wanted the photographer to do. But in my early days, I would say it's all me.
Oh, and I do understand that as well. I mean, I really do. My whole thing is the aftermath of the sale, but I understand why you guys do that as well. I mean, I'm a key. I'm an assistant. I was an assistant. I helped my key do whatever. I wasn't expecting her to run over to you and say, my assistant told me to do that. It is what it is. It's a hierarchy in everything that we do, especially in fashion. So I get that. That doesn't really bother me, but thank you for giving me credit, though, you Jazz. But it doesn't bother me. If you didn't say anything, okay. I didn't say it to, I didn't show you for you to say, Deshawn did it. It wasn't like that. I was just trying to, you know how I am. I was just looking at it and going, oh, that might look pretty. Let me show you. So
Yeah.
maybe we can get something else out of the shoot. But you're receptive. Would I do that to every photographer? Hell no, I wouldn't do that to every photographer. No, 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 no. I would not do that. There's too many photographers that their feelings would be hurt. They would tell me to, keep them in my place. Come on, I work with hairstylists. You remember the hairstylist? I work with the hairstylist, and I said, "Hey, can you just move that curl?" And he snapped at me and told me, "I know what I'm doing." And I was like, "Wow, okay." So yes,
No,
there's a lot of ego in our world in fashion. There's a lot of ego in it, and we just have to, I know you, so I know I could do that. I don't know if I would have done that for another photographer, because I don't know how receptive they would have been. It depends on my rapport with the person.
there used to be a time where I used to think, because the option was, should I, work with Deshawn, or should I work with XYZ other makeup artists?
Mhm.
And you brought out the best in me as a photographer, because you challenged my creativity. And on every set, we used to bump heads, and you would say, I don't like it. And I would say, oh my God, now, and I think that has helped me become a better photographer. And I credit you for that, because not everybody had the strength to get up to Ejaz and say, I don't like it. Not many people, I should say nobody ever does that. Then no one says I don't like it to me, because hey, how can they do that? But when
Right,
it comes
right.
to you, I used to cringe. I hated working with you, but I also loved it because I grew as an artist. All I can say is, for the photographers, if you have someone amazing like Deshawn on set, take the advice. It'll only make you a better creator.
Aw, thank you, Ejaz. But you also you never showed me that you got upset. Like but you would ask me. I always thought when you came over to ask me, I thought you really wanted an honest answer. That's why there's some people I know I could never say I don't like that because I know they would cry on the floor. You know what I mean? The shoot would be over. You can't talk to them, but there's certain people throughout my career that somebody walked over to me and say, what do you think about that? I said, I'm not really liking that. And I explain why I don't like something. But you took it and you just said, okay. And then
I was crying inside. I just never showed
oh,
it.
what happens? I mean, other people tell me things like I thought I did a masterpiece and they would say, you really effed that up. And I was like, I did? But I don't take it as like you shot me. I take it as a learning lesson. If somebody says they don't like something I've done, I'll say, oh my God, tell me why. Give me the feedback. I want to learn. I want to learn. So that's why I answer people as truthfully as I can, because I feel like you're asking me for a reason. Why would you ask me but I appreciate you taking it and internally breaking down.
So everybody has to go to your website. So why don't you
Yes.
pitch in your website so this way people can find you easily?
It's assistingrules.com, and you'll see beautiful testimonies from amazing makeup artists like Lisa Eldridge and Sam Fine, Kevin James Bennett. So many amazing people have endorsed this book and this crusade of mine to get assisting perfect. So it's sold all over the world. It's an ebook now. Please pick it up. My publisher would love you.
Are you making a statement by wearing a blue glasses with your red lipstick? Is that a statement about Democrat and Republicans? Is that
Oh no. It could be a statement of that because I am very wishy-washy with my stuff. I'm a Libra, so we go like this. So yes, maybe it is. Maybe it is. In this day and time, maybe it is.
maybe it's a
Never
subconscious
know.
statement that you're making? Okay, that's great.
It all goes together. That's the point. Republicans and Democrats can go together if we stop fighting each other and acting like stupid children. We all can go together and make this country great. That's why red and blue always looks amazing. Just
As a makeup artist, I have to say it looks so perfect on you. I mean, you look beautiful, and you have this blue glasses with red lips, and they're both blaring at you. Sometimes I
yes.
don't know whether I'm looking at your eyes, I'm looking at your lips, but it's like a perfect match. And I think if you can put it together, the country can put it together.
Yes, we can. We can. Oh my God. Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So, last question: where does one find Deshawn, and what is the easy road or access to Deshawn Hatchet? If somebody wants to contact you, what do they do?
Oh, that's simple. First of all, I'm Deshawn Hatcher everywhere. There's no, I am the queen, Deshawn Hatcher, but it's just Deshawn Hatcher. So everything, Instagram, Facebook, everything's under Deshawn Hatcher.
And for one last time, can you say fashion the way we say it in our cult?
Oh, fashion. It's fashion. That's how you say it.
Thank you, Deshawn.
Thank you, Jazz.